previous video, we discussed about Rajrajeshwara temple or Brideshwar temple, which was also called Gangle Kotta Cholapuram. And this temple was constructed by Rajaraj Chola I in Tanjore, whose son was Rajendra I. And the construction was started by Rajaraj I, and development work was carried out by Rajendra I. And these temples were being made for worshipping the god. Okay, so or we can say that the temple, Rajrajeshwar temple, that temple had the tallest shikhara of all the temples, which was called Vimana also. And its shikhara was in the shape of pyramid. For building the shikhara, now you will be thinking ki cranes or the different technology which were not at that time. Then how those large and the high shikharas were constructed? What was the technique? So yes, I can tell you. Suppose here is temple and its shikhara. This shikhara is 90 tons. It is of 90 tons. Now you think, you know very well the technologies which are right now, they were not available at that time. So they constructed an inclined path from this temple to 4 kilometers away. Now you will be asking, why only 4 kilometers away? So suppose if it was not 4 kilometers, it was 2 kilometers. So it would be too steep and it will not be easy to board here. Yes, and to get the material, to carry the material which is of 90 ton. Yes, it was very difficult. It will become very difficult. That's why, so that it would not become too steep. That's why 4 kilometer inclined path was made. Now, how did we come to know about this thing? Because around 4 kilometers away there was one village which was located, that was Cholapuram. That was, Charupalam. Charupalam was the village which is located at that place, and that village is known as the village of the incline. Okay, incline means, that is incline झुका होना. Obviously the village of the incline, जो यहाँ पर village रहेगा. Clear? So this was about previous topic. Now I told you कि why were temples targeted. In previous video we discussed this also. Why? Because the temples, they were the places of worship for Hindu, and the mosques were the places of worship for Muslim. So they were made to demonstrate the power and wealth of the king and his devotion to God. That's why the temples were targeted. Whenever the king was defeated, the temples which were constructed by him, they all were attacked and looted by the other ruler. Example is here. The temples were attacked. So I'm giving you one example at that time how the temple was working, how the temple was as a miniature model of the world of at that time of those kings' time. So the temple was a miniature model of the world ruled by the king and his allies. A temple, how? You can see that there are that in temples we can see the sculptures, the idols of so many gods, so many idols. It means murtiyan or sculptures can be seen there. Yes, what was the main sculpture of deity? What was the deity of main sculpture? जो वहाँ के main lord रहेंगे, जो god रहेंगे, that was considered as a king's sculpture. It will represent the king, and the other sculptures in the temple, they will represent the king's allies or the subordinates of the kings. Yes. If now we are talking about temples, first of all we'll discuss completely about temples. After that we will proceed for mosques. Okay? So why were temples targeted? I told you. Now I am giving you some examples when the temples were targeted. So in 9th century, Pandya king, where were Pandyas ruling? In South India, at this place, Pandyas were ruling. So Pandya king, whose name was Shrimar Shri Vallabham. Okay, Shrimar Shri Vallabha. Okay, so this was the name of Pandya king who attacked, who invaded Sri Lanka, who went from India to Sri Lanka. Yes, and defeated Senali ruler of Sri Lanka, where people were following Buddhist culture. Yes, so King Sena I was defeated of Sri Lanka, was defeated by Shrimar Shri Vallabha. Okay, he was Sinhali ruler, King Sena I. Okay, and after that, he and the statue of the Buddha was taken by Shrimar Shri Vallabha, and it was brought to our country in South India. And how do we come to know about this thing? So there are the records of Dhamma Kirti. So because of the records of Dhamma Kirti, we come to know about this thing, how the Pandya king defeated the king of Sri Lanka and how he captured the statue of Buddha and he brought it here in our country. Yes, and after that, we can see after that, King Sena II of Sri Lanka, he invaded in Madurai, where the statue of Buddha was brought by Pandya king. Yes, so King Sena II, he invaded Madurai in our country and defeated the rulers, and he took back the statue of Buddha. So this is one example. Okay. Now we are coming on second example, King Rajendra I. King Rajendra I, who was the son of Rajaraj I. Yes, so King Rajendra I, he constructed a Shiva temple in early 11th century. And in that temple, to whom he defeated, he seized so many sculptures, he seized so many idols or statues from that, and he brought him and he kept all those statues in this temple. Yes, so here is a list. Here are some things about which we are talking. I want to tell you, that is a sun pedestal. A sun pedestal means on which the throne of the king was kept. Okay, so a sun pedestal from Chalukyas, where the Chalukya dynasty, like Pallava dynasty, like that, Chalukya dynasty was also there. So Chalukya dynasty was ruling here. Okay, and the statues of Ganesha, the statue of Nandi, they were brought from eastern Chalukyas. Okay, and after that, from Odisha, they brought some other things like the statue of Bhairav and Bhairavi, it means Shiv and Parvati. They brought it from Kalingas of Odisha say. And after that, Palas of Bengal. Palas were ruling in Bengal. Pala dynasty was ruling in Bengal. So Palas, from Palas ruler, he defeated them and he brought the statue of Kalima. Okay, the statue of Kali he brought here, and in Rajendra Verma brought, and he decorated that temple with all those statues. It means he brought it here and he kept all those statues in Shiva temple. Now next, if we come on next topic, that is Mahmud Ghazni. The attacks of Mahmud Ghazni. Mahmud Ghazni was early Turkish ruler who came to our country. And he invaded our country 17 times. 17 times he came to our country and looted all the material, all the things which were here in the temples, and took it with him. So he attacked 17 times, and which was the most famous attack about which you are going to learn, that is 1025. In 1025, the attack on Somnath temple in Gujarat was the famous attack which was done by him. And there also he defeated the rulers and he looted the temples and took all the wealth from here. And after that, Mahmud Ghazni, we can say, if he defeated the rulers and he looted all the temples which were constructed by those rulers, so Muslims, they considered him as a great hero of Islam, Okay, he was a Muslim. And he looted all the temples. So he was acting, he got credit as a great hero of Islam. And they showed their powers by defeating the rulers. And the rulers, whether they are of India, whether they are of foreign. So whenever they were coming to our country, or the rulers, the indigenous rulers, they were just showing their powers in just this way only. They were defeating the kings, they were attacking the kings, they were defeating them and looted all the property from there. Yes. So I hope this is clear to you all. Now we are going. Now I'm going to give you some questions from this topic that we have discussed. So first question is, who defeated King Sena, or who attacked King Sena I of Sri Lanka? And name the statue whose statue was brought by him in South India. Then second is, write a few lines about Mahmud Ghazni. Write a few lines about Mahmud Ghazni. Third question is, make a list of the looted things, or the looted things from the temples by Rajendra I. So these are the three questions. Their answer you are to write in your classwork notebook and send it in your group. Right now we discuss about the temples which were constructed by the indigenous rulers, or which were constructed by the Hindu rulers. Now we are going to discuss about the mosques and the tanks which were made by Delhi Sultans. And after that we will be going to discuss about garden, tombs and forts which were constructed by Mughal emperors. So right now, we will be going to discuss about mosques and tanks. When early Turkish rulers came to our country, they defeated Chauhans and they settled here. And at that time, Muslim sultans and Badshah, Babur got the title of Badshah. So they established their rule here, and they described themselves, they claimed them as the shadow of God. Earlier, I told you, in previous videos, I told you that the indigenous rulers, the Hindu rulers, they were describing themselves as the incarnations of God. But now what happened when Turkish rulers came here and they described themselves, they claimed themselves as the shadow of God. This is the same thing. They are just saying कि हम भगवान के अवतार, and they are just saying कि we are the shadow of God, we are not the God. It means the Hindu rulers are saying कि they have to go at one place. But हमें यहाँ से जाना है. But Muslim rulers, they want to say the same thing, but they are saying कि हम तो यहाँ से जाएंगे. It means the discussion, the destination is the same. The same thing is, this is the same thing which is conveyed. But still they are saying कि we are not the incarnations of God. We are the shadow of God. And there is an inscription. What are inscriptions? The things which are inscribed, which are written on the hard surface. Okay, like walls, pillars, rocks. So there is an inscription in Quwwat al-Islam mosque which is written on the wall of this mosque, and it is explained here, and it is written there that God allowed him Khilji as a king because he had the qualities of Moses and Solomon. Who is Moses and Solomon? He had the qualities of these, but who are these? Moses means there was a prophet, Muslim prophet, like Hindu saint are there. In Muslim prophets are there, and his name was Musa. He was a very famous prophet, and about him his discussion about him in Quran, he has been discussed so many times. Okay, now he made Israelis, the people of Israel, he made Israelis free from the king of Pharaoh, from their slavery. Okay, he made Israelis free. Now who is Solomon? Solomon was a king. He was a wise king. What happened once God came in his dream? He dreamt about the God. God came to him and asked, what do you want? And Solomon, that king, that said that I want wisdom, I want enlightenment. That's why he is famous. He was a very wise king, and this is written here. It is explained on the inscriptions in Wat al-Islam Mosque, the walls of this mosque, that God chose Alauddin Khilji as a king because he had the quality of Moses and Solomon. And by constructing the places of worship, they just proclaim, the kings just proclaim that they are in a close relationship with the God. And the society was religiously driven at that time. And why the rulers were making the mosque and the tombs? Obviously to get the support of the people. Yes, so and the rule of a just king, the rule of a justified king would be an age of plenty. It is a say at that time, ये बोला जाता था उस टाइम पे कि the rule of a justified king, it would be an age of plenty. It means किसी भी चीज की कमी नहीं है, everything is in sufficient quantity. Okay, this was about mosque. Now we are discussing about tanks. Kings were constructing water sources also, because at that time the agriculture was the main occupation of the people, and agriculture was playing an important role in administration as well. Yes, so Sultan Iltutmish, first of all, Sultan Iltutmish made a reservoir outside Delhi-e-Kuna, and it was also known as Hoj-e-Sultani. This reservoir was called Hoj-e-Sultani, which was outside Delhi-e-Kuna. And these reservoirs could be big or small, and they were the part of temples, mosques and gurdwaras. How? I am giving you example. First example is Amritsar Golden Temple. This is a gurdwara. The name is Golden Temple, but actually this is a gurdwara, where there you can see the tank, the water tank. Yes, so in that gurdwara, water tank is there. Yes, it was established. And next example, if I tell about mosque, about the mosque masjid, that is Jama Masjid, where in Shahjahanabad, where the town which was established by Shahjahan as their capital, and the water tank, the direction of the water tank was towards Makkah, which was the religious and sacred place at that time. So this was it. In next video, we will be going to discuss about gardens, tombs and forts which were made by Mughal emperors. Hope this is clear to you all.